Harry leaned against the wall with his arms folded, frowning at Jack. "You can't be serious," he said, shaking his head in disbelief. "You think we should give weapons tech to Earth's governments?" This meeting had gone on for the better part of an hour, while Harry filled them in on the latest political quagmire. The poor guy was stuck trying to force several different law enforcement agencies into playing nice. It had been a simple suggestion, nothing more, but he could already tell this wasn't going to go over well. Jack winced, pressing a knuckle to his forehead. "I'm dead serious," he insisted, backing away from the other man. "Look, I'm not suggesting that we give them guns or death spheres, but some of the defensive tech like force field generators." Anna stood beside him with hands clasped behind her back, tilting her head up to stare at the ceiling. "I'd like to note that I'm against this plan," she said. "Defensive tech can very easily be turned into offensive weaponry." "Yeah, but..." "Children," Jenna cut in. "No fighting." The leader of their little group sat on the edge of her desk with hands resting on her knees, directing a scowl into her own lap. "Every suggestion is worth considering," she added. "That said, I think Anna has a point about..." She was cut off by the door chime. "Open!" Jenna shouted. The double doors slid apart to allow Harry's daughter Melissa to stumble into the room. The girl was hunched over with a hand pressed to her stomach, gasping as if she had just run a marathon. "Bleakness take me, girl," Jenna said. "You look like you've just seen a ghost. What is it?" "I know," Melissa gasped. "I know. I understand." "You know what?" A wince twisted the girl's face into something painful to look at, and she stood up straight with some effort. "I know what Grek and Slade is planning." Jack spun around to face her. Those words made him feel like someone had just flicked him right between the eyes. How could a high school student possibly know that? But the sincerity in her voice made it clear that she believed it. He shuffled over to the girl with hands shoved into his pockets, keeping his eyes downcast. "Okay, Melissa, let's just take it slow," he began. "How exactly do you know what Slade is planning?" Melissa looked up at him with sweat glistening on her face, blinking slowly as if she'd never seen a grown man before. "Raynar showed me," she whispered, "the other day when I visited him in his cell." Chewing on his lower lip, Jack shut his eyes tight. "Yeah, that makes all kinds of sense," he said, nodding to her. "Melissa, I know you believe it, but that boy could have put any fantasy into your head." "It's true, Missy," Harry added. "Anything he imagines he can force into your mind with very little effort." "My name is Melissa." The girl bared her teeth like a feral beast, hissing and seething. She backed up until she was standing in the doorway. "I know how telepathy works, but I'm telling you this is real. I felt it." With a heavy sigh, Jenna got off her desk and paced across the room with her head down. "Okay," she said with more patience in her voice than Jack would have expected. "Let's hear her out." "Really?" Harry asked. "All suggestions are worth considering." They took a few minutes to get Melissa settled, offered her a chair and a glass of water. She seemed grateful for it, and Jack couldn't help but feel a little guilty for the way they had so casually dismissed her. Whatever the girl had seen, it had left enough of an impression on her to make her scramble through the hallways of the station in a frenzy. That alone made it worth giving her their undivided attention. Anna was down on one knee next to Melissa's chair, smiling up at the girl. "You okay, kiddo?"